Welcome,
Good to see you all.
beautiful friends.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming today. In the first of our series on divine relationships, the science of divine relationships. Um, hey,
Hi.
relationships of all kinds. We're going to be diving into. Today's topic is
Soulmates and
soulmate.
how to create that in our life. And that was, I don't know who of you was in the guide talk, but we asked that if you had any wish, any particular question, or, any idea of what you are particularly interested, please write to us. And then one person really said she would really love to talk about how to attract a soulmate, how to find one, how to magnetize that into your life. And so that's why we chose the topic for today. I mean, obviously we wanted to talk about soulmates, but this is a very particular angle, like how to even find one if you don't have one yet. And if you have one, how can you maintain it and sustain it and just let it grow and grow and grow very beautifully. So yeah, let's start with Swami's words, Sri Kaleshwar.
So this is a compilation of quotes
Mhm.
and excerpts that we've put together. And I believe that we'll be putting this as a PDF in our space so you can have access to it as well. And I believe the original sources are mostly from ancient, what's
Um, I really went through all books that I have from Swami, and like the Jesus book, the Divine Mission, Ancient
that
Knowledge,
one?
the
Yeah.
Holy Womb, the Real Healing is Soul Healing, and just it's many times repeating like similar quotes, but also I found new stuff and new content that I learned a lot from. So it's not all of it is in what we read today, because we would read for probably half an hour straight, but like some keynotes, and then in the future satsangs we will dive into certain aspects more deeply. So we can't talk about everything today, but just this is like an introduction with the key points from Swami.
Okay. So the words of Sri Kaleshwar, a soulmate. You have to find one. Somebody needs to love you immortally. Unbelievable true love. That's essential. That's very essential. Having a soulmate is the most beautiful thing. It's very essential. It's very necessary. Totally 100% true love is there. True love. There isn't any selfishness. There's nothing there but true love. Soulmate. True love is immortal. Once you truly love, it's a stamp on your soul. It's the bond. That's it. It will come forever and ever for many lifetimes. If you have that, your life is pretty good at bliss as a human life. You won't feel stress. You won't feel pain. You won't feel heartbroken. There's no way depression will come. There's no way heartbreak will come. You're totally free of everything. Power is hidden in a soulmate, in unconditional love. It doesn't matter if your soulmate is your father, your mother, your patient, your client, your neighbor, your girlfriend, your son, your daughter, your master, whoever it might be. A soulmate can help you to succeed in unconditional true love. That unconditional true love, once you started to see that, your soul energy, day by day, step by step, is increasing unbelievably and powerfully. Then with your womb chakra, you can really play. You can command. You can request any type of healing on the planet. You really can play very beautifully with your soul. You might have tons of relationships, but the real relationship, a soulmate relationship, you need to create that. You need to have your soulmate. You need at least one person who will die for you and live for you and forever stay during difficult times and happy times. Yes, I'm with you. Let's go. That is true friendship. That is the real relationship. Every soul, if you need to get success, Another soul needs to be very strongly supportive for your mission. Whoever totally understands you, that character is your real soulmate. If you don't have that character in relationships, you will get failure. A soulmate is a path to receive unconditional love. Without having a soulmate, you cannot win in spirituality. Absolutely not. A soulmate is essential. Jesus Christ had a soulmate. Shirdi Baba had a soulmate. I have soulmates. Krishna had soulmates. I want to give a definition of a soulmate. Whenever you feel pain, the person who really cares for you, loves you, has to feel that pain, even if they are a little far away. And same way, whenever you feel happy, that person will also feel happy. That soul connection must be there. That's called soulmate. If you laugh, that person has to laugh. If you're crying, he has to take that crying seriously to give encouragement that you require. Of course, the Almighty is already taking care of you in different angles, but still you're a human being. In your circumstance, a soulmate in a physical body is required. Some people might have confusion. How to determine who is your soulmate? Your soulmate, your really true friend, should be either your master, your business partner, your true lover, your good daughter, your good brother, could be your mother, father, child, teacher, healer, doctor. It doesn't matter. He should be loyal and share your love and experiences. You can feel it. How many people have that really true great friendship that you can say, I really have a good, great friend in my life? Do or die. They know everything about me. The important thing is that soulmate's heart should be open to you and your feelings. Whenever you think of that person, you need to feel a little relaxed. You need to feel a little relief. And that person also has to feel a little relief and relax whenever he thinks about you. Those are the symptoms. You should really deeply think, who really cares about your soul forever and ever? Ultimately, until you dissolve your energy in the cosmic, who can stand with you and for you, and also can take your energy with him for or her forever until you dissolve in the cosmic. It's beyond heart feelings. Of course, every human being, every soul, has a soulmate on this planet. It should be any soul in this lifetime you really care about or who really cares about you. Doesn't matter if it's male or female. A soulmate can live anywhere, and maybe you never see that person. The soulmate has to be in a physical form. You should not choose a soulmate you did not see in a physical form. Don't decide your soulmate by physical attraction. A soulmate means it's a condition. It's a strong phenomenon. You have to know everything about that person, and that person needs to know everything about you. Another golden statement. If you don't have a soulmate in your life, you're an unbelievable spiritual failure in this lifetime. You need to share. Share. Once you really have the communication with your soulmate, that access will happen forever and ever until you really dissolve in the cosmic. You need to be able to tell everything, even whatever crazy stuff or good stuff you did, and be able to tell that person whatever mood you're in, whether you're in pain or you're happy. With true soulmates, you can talk A to Z about your life. You can really talk. No lying, no hiding, no matter what you've done in any circumstances, even if it hurts. You can tell in a direct way, like you had another affair. You had a great feeling with somebody else. It means no hiding. A soulmate is beyond any relationship. I know nowadays everybody has their own crazy ego and hiding nature, maintaining their personal secrets. Every person has their own shadow they don't want to share. Some layer of their personality they don't want to present, to show. Once you can show the layers of your personality, even to your mother, you can tell she is your soulmate. If you failed your soulmate, if you're hiding, if you're keeping secrets, you're cheating yourself, you're deceiving yourself, then you keep holding pressure, 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 pressure. Then at a certain time, all these things will blast. All these things in you will blast. Then you'll be heartbroken, in pain, and depression. You won't feel the real fragrance in your life. You should not change your feelings on your soulmate. It's a standard. Once you choose your soulmate, you have to stick with that. Then the energy will automatically flow. It will go and decharge automatically there. So that is a very important thing you need to think about your soulmate. If you have that one person in your life, you're ready to get enlightenment. Without having a soulmate, sorry, we got someone at the door. It's highly impossible to receive enlightenment. Just a moment.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks. And that's the end of the reading.
God was knocking on our door.
So before we jump in, if you are able to turn your camera on, we'd greatly appreciate it because it really helps to connect and to make contact. And just to see everybody who's present. If you're not able to, of
Or
course, it's totally fine, or not comfortable.
Totally fine.
Of course, we're not going to force you to do it.
Hi, beauties. He really makes it different.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody.
Yes. Aw,
Um,
beautiful.
yeah, so soulmates.
Big subject.
It's a big subject.
Yeah.
It's a really big subject. And the question we always ask ourselves is, why is it such an important subject? Why is it so critical? Why is it so essential?
Swami gave this as one of the few things. He mentioned a few points that every healer needs to have in his life. And one of them was a soulmate. Like that's how important it is. And also in that reading, he says, you have to have one. It's it's necessary. You can't win spirituality. You can't, you need a soulmate for doing all these processes that we do. You need a soulmate for your womb chakra. You need a soulmate for your soul power. Like it's linked to so many aspects of what we're doing in our path, but on any spiritual path, it's not limited to ours. So Swami really talked about soulmates a lot. It was so important to him. Many, many times he would ask people, his students, who is your soulmate? Do you have a soulmate? Like he would just ask, and just poke us, and make sure we're still on track to either developing a soulmate relationship or finding it. So just take it seriously. It's not just a nice thing to have, it's really necessary. And yeah, that's why we wanted to talk about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe very, very quickly, for those of you who are not in our guide talk and who don't know us yet, why the two of us are talking about this, maybe
you can guess.
Maybe you guess. Yeah, I mean, we were very obviously put on a soulmate path, the two of us, by Swami. We met in the ashram, and it was right away clear we are meant to explore soulmate relationships and unconditional love and everything that stands in the way of that. And this is a little bit what we will talk about today and also in future satsangs, because it sounds so beautiful and everybody wants that, right? It's like the deepest longing of probably everyone, to have that unconditional loving person in our life that just loves us exactly the way we are, doesn't want to change us. We are perfectly fine the way we are. And the other way around, that we have that kind of relationship in our life. And yet so many of us struggle with that, either to even find something like that or maintain it. Relationships break apart. There's just so much pain around relationships. And especially in spiritual circles, it's very common that people are very amazing meditators, very amazing, like they can reach the silent states, all kinds of things, but then many still struggle with relationships and love, with the human relationships. Although it's very divine, it's a very it's like Swami says, if you can't have human soul relationships, you can't win spirituality. So we need to have them in the human body, but we also need them to win spirituality. And he says without that you can't get enlightenment. um and so, yeah, we were put on that path to figure it out, and it was not easy. It was a lot of struggle, a lot of healing work in each of us and with each other, a lot of, digging up the wounds and the root issues and the heartbreaks, everything that stands in between. Beautiful, thriving soulmate relationship was coming to the surface in our life with each other. And so, yeah, we felt we need to explore this and then share this with others what we learned. So
Share our work in progress.
yeah, our work in progress.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I want to
definitely not at the top.
yeah,
Yes,
because
yes.
I want to make that crystal clear, like up front from the very beginning of a recorded satsang. Yeah, that we are still in the process. We are very much in the process, right? Um, and still discovering layers. Uh, so I just want to make that clear. You'll get. I mean, you'll see.
And also our style, and those of you who know us, they know this already, that we are very open and very, like we don't have a problem with sharing, our own struggles or what we learned in our personal way, path, evolution, and this is really our style. And we also invite all of you, if you feel comfortable, to just share and speak whatever is on your heart, because we love the interactive, really talking with each other about these things. It's not meant to be like as a teaching or something, we don't really teach here anything, just Swami's words,
And our experience.
and our experiences, but everyone has so much to share and so much wisdom, and we just love to be in that kind of dialogue. So okay.
So one thing that I really want to mention is Swami was a master, at least for me, of creating a lot of tension. And I don't mean like suspense. I mean like real like tightness in his language. And I want to acknowledge that in some of the ways that he talks about this. The way he says,
That you're a spiritual failure.
yeah, you're a spiritual failure if you don't have a soulmate, right? That you have to have that one person in your life, and then you're ready to get enlightenment, right? In other words, if you don't have that, you're not eligible for this, right? And so he's really good at bringing up that tension of feeling like, oh my gosh, like either I have to have this, right? Or am I doing it wrong? Or am I doing it right? Or am I making a mistake? Like I don't know how other people feel, but I know that for a long time I struggled with that. And even when I read his words again, I can feel it. I feel that like, oof, right? It's like you have to have this, right? And if you don't have it, you're just not eligible. And I feel like that tension and that fear is something that we have to acknowledge. Even if it's not around Swami's words, just around discovering a soulmate, developing that kind of relationship, it's the most natural thing in the world, right? It's the natural human state. And it's all the layers that we've put on top of that prevent it from happening, right? It is natural to have that relationship with parents. It is natural for parents to have that relationship with children when we have healed hearts. So that fear, that tension is part of what is standing in the way. In other words, if Swami's words bring any tension up in us ever at any point, whether it's about soulmates or anything else, he is pointing to us. He is showing us. He is reflecting to us. This is a part of what is standing in the way. And it's important to feel that and acknowledge that, right? Instead of letting that drive us, instead of letting, or I should say that's been my experience, that if I let that tension drive me, then I completely miss the mark. I'll stop there.
Yeah, talk more about why it's the most natural thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the most natural thing, if you think of a baby, if you think of an infant, right? They come in. That is the most natural a human being can be. And so a baby, I love to think about Jesus as an infant a lot. If you think of Jesus as an infant, right? The most natural human state is pure love, right? Is a soul that is still completely in its most sensitive state, right? Uh, and is just in a state of love. There's no mind. It's just pure love. And in his case, he had two very loving parents, right? That's also the natural state. A healed heart, by the way, that's the natural state. A heartbroken heart, which is what most of us carry, that comes later as a result of misunderstandings, right? And painful experiences. But before the heartbreak ever occurs, like in a first lifetime or whatever, then there's this pure unconditional love. And then there's a pure bond that develops to the parents. Pure open soul connection, heart to heart, soul to soul, and there's nothing standing in the way. And so there's pure union. There's true union in the creation, right? So we've a little bit left the oneness in the creation, but in the creation, we're given the gift of experiencing that oneness through that open-hearted soul to soul bond. And it happens automatically with our parents, right? So
If
that's
the parents are healed.
yeah. So I'm talking about exactly in this
He's talking about a healthy
natural
family. That's
like just think, I don't know how many yugas ago, right? Before everybody started being heartbroken.
or Jesus's family.
Yeah, or Jesus's family. That's
shows
what
the
it's
potential.
exactly. It's the template,
The
right? It's the
template.
blueprint for what human relationships can be.
Mhm.
And so love just flows naturally. And it just love is the oneness, love is the bond, right? Love is the door. Love grows that bond, right? Opens the door wider. And so there's nothing but love flowing between, let's just take mother and child, right? And so that means anytime this one feels something, the other one is feeling it too, because they're one. And when this one feels something, the other one is feeling it too. So when a child has a painful experience, right, then the mother is feeling it completely. And the child is able to feel it completely, and the love dissolves it. And that's the potential of a soulmate relationship. That is the mechanism of the soulmate relationship. Yeah.
And by the way, Swami said that all parents are meant to be soulmates for their children. But unfortunately, he also says that there is so much pain, especially in the Western countries. We will talk about this more in the future satsangs, how the early childhood, and even Swami says that, it causes so much pain in the future generations, and that all needs to be healed. And so if we want to have healthy soulmate relationships, at least one, then we have to heal our hearts, and we need to heal our heartbreaks that start very, very early in life. And soulmate relationship is like a healthy, like you say, a natural state of soul union, of love with each other. It's like, you could say, the other side of the polarity of heartbreak. It's like both sides of the same coin. If we are able to live in deep soul union with another person, or with all humans in our life, ideally, that is a symptom of a healed heart, a whole heart, an open heart, a fully like heart that's capable to be in oneness with people, souls around, but also with the entire creation. So the more open the heart, the more it's healed or whole, and the more broken the heart is, the more wounded the heart is, the more hurt it is, the more closed it is, and the less easy it gets to be in those kinds of soulmate relationships. So it's all, we can look at it from heartbreak, we can look at it from, how is the connection to the physical mother as the primary relationship. It's really the most primary relationship. Swami talked about that we have to have a healed connection with our physical mother. Everything is based on this. So there's so many different angles from which we can approach soulmate mechanism and soulmate relationships, but it's like the end goal. Basically, if we are able to live in relationships like Jesus did with his mother. Swami always talked about Jesus and Mother Mary as the soulmate example. They just shared everything with each other, and Jesus could not have done what he did without that. He was very clear about that. He needed that soulmate, because even Jesus went through emotions, through difficulties, through yeah, he just felt pain. He was so full of empathy and love. So of course there was also sadness, and he needed to share that with his soulmate, and then also with his wife. So you can't, even a master like Jesus, he couldn't have done it without his soulmate. It's essential when you are in a human body. You need that kind of support and that kind of, like Swami says, somebody really being there for you through your pain, holding your hand. I'm with you. I love you no matter what. You're perfect the way you are. You nothing is wrong. You like this tendency that so many of us have to want to fix each other, that wouldn't be unconditional love. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So, when Swami says like you have to have a soulmate, right? It's kind of like saying like you have to eat food, you have to drink water, right? You have to breathe. Don't forget to breathe, right? Uh, because it's so natural. Like that shows a little bit how far we are, right? As a whole,
As a
right? As a
collective.
culture, as a collective, right? If like, can you imagine that there's a culture where a spiritual master has to come in and say, like, you guys need to eat food. You cannot stay alive if you don't eat food, right? Because what he's saying is, and he has said this, is love is the oxygen for the soul,
Mhm.
right? And that's not like a nice analogy or a metaphor. It's very literal. The soul needs love to survive. And that's part of the reason why so much of us in the world are living dead, right? We're alive, but we're not actually alive. We're not fully alive, is because we don't have that love in our life. And so when he says like, I mean, he gets really extreme sometimes. He's like, your life is, what is it, like a spiritual dustbin, right? It's like it creates all this pressure, like, oh my God, like I don't want my life to be, but it's just like all he's saying is like if you don't live in this natural way with love,
Your soul is
your
dying.
soul is
Mhm.
dying, right? Forget about reaching your full potential, right? We're just living in a state of malnourishment, right? Um, and unfortunately, for many of us, right, either you know, that was normal. That was so normal we didn't realize, right? That's why love feels like this extraordinary thing once we start to feel it. It's like if you go through a desert and you haven't eaten anything, that first bite of food, it's just going to be so heavenly. It's incredible, but it's just like, yeah, that's what you're supposed to be having every day, all the time, right? Water also, right? It's like that first, when your throat is so parched and you drink the water, it's so, that heavenly feeling. And then it's just normal. Because that's the way it should be.
Normal in the sense that's what the soul is.
Yeah,
The
that's the
soul,
nature
the
of the
soul
soul.
is
Yeah.
is love. It can't do anything but love. So all the problems that we have with each other is our egos, it's our wounds, it's our blocks, it's our heartbreaks. And then the more of that is accumulating karmically on top of our soul, it's like layers and layers and layers, the more the soul kind of withdraws, and then it just can't operate in the way it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Like we're supposed to live from our heart and soul and having these soul union relationships with each other, you know. But we're also heartbroken, and this is where the problem starts, you know.
Yeah. And
So
you know, like we don't want to be downers about
no.
this. Like, you know, this is not like you're all sinners, you're all heartbroken, right? This is like this is we all face this. And I love that Florentine told me that Andre Eversberg in a recent satsang was talking about how Swami, right, was with his students and asked who here is heartbroken. And there were students that had already been with him, I think at that point for 9, 10 years or something like that. New students also. Nobody raises their hand, right? Nobody raises their hand. And he says, you're not being honest with yourself.
Yeah, Janice was there apparently.
Oh, Janice, you were there?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, like, I mean, I can say personally, I've done so much healing, so much healing, um, so much. We've both done so much healing. I mean, like, and I don't, I mean, like, seeing healers over and over again, seeing psychotherapists, right? Finding all kinds of different modalities that we can do to open our heart, to get in touch with our heart, to heal our heart. And still to this day, still uncovering layers of heartbreak. Yeah, still there's more. And that quote that I heard the other day, like really woke me up again. I was like, oh yeah, that's what this is. Like, that's the reason my heart is not open all the time. I still feel layers of heartbreak. I'm still carrying layers of heartbreak. So I got to be honest with myself about that. It's the reason why we struggle in our soulmate relationship.
Mhm.
It's the reason why sometimes it feels like a grind to develop this because of that, yeah, that heartbreak, but also how that love, right, that we have and that we share brings up that heartbreak, sheds light on that heartbreak, right? So we can't run away from it, and we cannot be in a relationship. It's just not possible because of the bond that's there and because of the love flow that already exists. We can't ignore it, right? Which can very often happen in relationships. You just have two people side by side, ignoring the fact that they're heartbroken. There's no real love flowing between them, and they just live their life that way, until they're, until they pass.
Yeah, and that is the amazing potential of soulmate relationships, because
Yeah.
this, how Swami talks about it, this is like the goal. We all want to get there, mutually unconditionally loving, always there for each other, always having that in our life in any circumstance, you know. But I know very few who have that like as a constant in their life. Like even we, I mean, we know we are soulmates, we have that, those experiences enough that I know the power of it. I know it's an incredibly powerful healing. That mechanism, like Swami says, it just decharges negativity automatically. We've experienced that so many times when we are in that open-hearted sharing where you really show your deep, like Swami says, you show everything, yeah, like your deepest shadows, what usually people hide. Swami says so many people hide so many layers, so many shadows. They're so ashamed, they are so afraid, they can't show all of them. And when we experience that in those moments when we truly feel safe and the other one is really absolutely unconditionally lovingly present, and then we share whatever we're carrying in that moment, whatever pain, or it's it's the ultimate most powerful healing that I ever experienced, you know. It's instant, you know. You can immediately feel the layer is just gone just in that presence of love. It is really the most powerful healing. And so we know the power of soulmate relationships, you know, but also we know that you have to work your way through and to that, you know. But what I also wanted to say is the potential of soulmate relationships is that because it's a soul relationships where Swami says it's souls that support each other on their soul growth. It's they are helping each other to reach the higher states. And so what that relationship will do, it will show you your things that still need healing. It will show you the things you need to unblock in yourself, the blocks you need to wash in yourself, the heartbreaks you need to heal in yourself. So it is one part, the path to healing, but another part it's also kind of like in itself the showing you the obstacles to healing, through that relationship, through that soul union, everything comes to the light. And this is why many people struggle when they already have a soulmate relationship and it's very deep, because the more closer, the more intimate, the more like there's the soul union, the more likely it is that all your shadows, all your pains, all your wounds will show up. And then people run away. It's too, I mean, potentially, it's just very, very painful for many, many people to really then go into that. And so we all need help. I mean, we needed so much help. We went, like he said, to healers to please get support. Okay. So I think somebody, who was it? Faye, I think, said in her talk once, and I think also Faz, yeah, I can't remember who was like that. They need to heal, that their own healing path basically led them to become a healer. And I also really recommend that to every healer. Just really seek your own healing. It's just so important, especially when we're looking to have beautiful, flourishing soulmate relationships. It's essential to self-heal. I would say without that,
Yeah.
we would not progress in our soulmate
Yeah.
path.
And I would say one mistake that I made was the assumption, maybe everybody here is already doing that, right? So I don't want to assume that, but in my case, there was an assumption that just having Swami as a master and just doing the mantras and the processes and meditating was enough, that this was automatically
In
taken
care.
care. And to an extent it does, right? The moment your soul comes up, layers start to, get washed out. But there came a point where I realized that no, I have to proactively be doing this. I have to proactively be healing. I can't do it passively. In other words, I have to actively be doing it. And it's anytime I feel anything, anytime I feel pain, anytime I feel a block, it's like, okay, that's something that needs to be healed. That's something that needs to be taken care of in one way or another. And sometimes it can be a process. Sometimes it can be a mantra. Sometimes, like we mentioned, it's seeing a healer, right? Or talking to a soulmate, or finding any modality that is supportive, right? That comes to you, in your life. Yeah.
Yeah, because doing mantras and processes it really empowers our soul. It really lifts our soul, and it does a lot of purifying. That is true, especially when it comes to karmas and all kinds of past life stuff. But it doesn't solve relationship problems. It doesn't solve like wounds that we receive from heartbreaks. It doesn't, except of course certain heartbreak processes are immensely powerful. And I would always do as much as you can, as many whatever helps, you know. But one part, you also need to heal through relationships. Like
Yeah.
there's this one very powerful quote, I think from Tara Brach, maybe somebody knows her. She says, we get wounded in relationships and we heal in relationships. And I feel this is so true. And that is like what soulmate relationships do. They really show us what we need to heal, and then they help us to heal.
Yeah.
And they show us where we got wounded in relationships.
Yeah. And that, by the way, is in my experience, that's where where things get stuck, yeah, in our experience is in the things that we hold, right? And the painful experiences that we hold onto. And those in our understanding, that's what literally become the blocks, right? In other words, when we have painful experiences that we hold on to, right, then there's no amount of japa, right, or even healing that is going to release that until we recognize that it's there, right? And then when we are able to release it, right? We're able to release the tension around it and the contraction that's around it, right? Now it can be healed. And it's a long process, right? Like it's like growing a tree, right? In the end, it's going to give beautiful fruits, right? Um, and a soulmate is such a critical part of that because it's really a process. I'm not ready to share the pain that's in here until I realize and share, oh, I'm feeling this tightness, right? I'm feeling this contraction. That's what it was for years with Florentine. It was me sharing just like, I just feel this tension here. I just feel all this contraction here. And it was years before I finally was able to release, years of healing, years of bringing up my soul before I was finally able to feel, oh, that's pain. That's fear that I've been holding all this time. And then in her presence and in her loving presence, or in the presence of a healer many times, or in the presence of a therapist, then I was able to feel what I had been holding for so long. And then it could heal
The point is in the presence of another.
in the presence
It's
of another.
not, oh, some things can't heal just by sitting in meditation. You need the love, you need the presence of another loving soul. It's really essential.
Yes.
And we really experience the difference it makes
Yes.
in our healing path. But let's talk a little bit because we really got that request, like how to attract that into my life,
Oh, yeah.
the kind of like a little bit more practical question, even though it's very deep also. And a lot is already implied what we talked about. But I think that question came from probably somebody who hasn't yet found that and has probably a longing for that. And I know many people who have that longing or haven't yet manifested that. And so I think we should talk very briefly about that, or as much time as we have. Um, what we think, or we meditated a little bit on that question and brainstormed, also, you know, integrating what we know from Swami about how to even manifest that in our life if we don't have it yet.
Yeah. But maybe should we open it up a little bit and ask
Oh yeah.
yeah.
Do you have
Yeah,
anything to add or
yeah.
ask before we go there?
When someone asks how to attract a soulmate, what does that mean to you? Either if you have a soulmate, how you respond to that, or if you feel like, if you don't have one yet and you're wondering that, what is the flavor or the fragrance of that question that stands out to you, Um, so
Or maybe you've tried and it didn't work, or there's some like like recurring challenges or recurring, like it never works because of this or that, like maybe you have some experiences that would help others too, if you share.
So is there anything anybody feels inclined to bring up? Please feel free to do so. We'd love to hear from you.